Hello and welcome to our latest Business Spotlight interview. Today, my guest is Sascha Tucker from Norfolk Holiday Properties. Sascha, delighted to have us with you. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me on. Always flattered when someone wants to talk to me about what we're doing.
Excellent, good stuff. So, Sascha, tell us a little bit about Norfolk Holiday Properties, what it is you do, and how you got into the role in the first place.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Sascha. I'm Managing Director of Norfolk Holiday Properties. We're a holiday home agency based in Norwich, and our business is here to provide property management services to our owners and then beautiful homes for our guests to holiday in. So we're based in the fine city of Norwich, but we do cover the whole county. So all the hotspots that you'll know, so Norfolk Coast, Norfolk Broads, Norwich City itself, and kind of the rural areas surrounding that as well. So currently there are over 100 homes which we look after in our portfolio.
Amazing. And how long have you been running the business?
So we're into our fourth year now, and the business really is growing now with the management service which we offer. The way we got started was just a handful of properties which were owned by my parents, actually. That's how we got started. So I looked after those. And then develop the service, and now that's what we offer as our product, which we've seen strong demand for. So it's been great so far.
Fantastic. And there's obviously a lot of holiday property in Norfolk. What makes you stand out, do you think, as a brand?
That's a good question. There's loads of properties in Norfolk. Firstly, the area does lend itself to it. So naturally, we were lucky that we're in just a good spot for it. I think that what has made us definitely stand out so far is just the approach we have to it is relaxed, it's friendly. Everything we do, we're about doing the right way. So we want to be kind of authentic in what we're doing. So when owners talk to us about their problems, we can deal with that. And they get to know us as a result. So whereas with a larger agency, you might call up and have to say, oh, I'm so-and-so, my property is this one. You might have to wait into a queue. You might not speak to the same person twice. If somebody calls us, we know who they are, and then we can offer a much more personable service. So that's something we've always had in mind as we kind of grow. And it's something that we'll have to kind of focus on to make sure we don't lose that, because that's definitely a key part of what we do. It's all about that trust and the relationships we build.
Yeah, fantastic. That personal touch just makes such a difference for people, doesn't it?
Yeah, and obviously that's really easy to do when you're a small agency, you have a handful of properties. It gets harder and harder to do at scale, but there are ways of doing that, and it's something we're very conscious of.
Wonderful. And so then just thinking, Sascha, about running the business, what's the thing that you enjoy the most about what you do?
I enjoy the relationships which we build and the opportunities that provides. And that comes from a number of different kind of places. So, I mean, one of those is just the people that I work with. So I'm very fortunate to have an incredible team. And that's probably one of the biggest things that also helps, going back to that earlier question about what makes us different. It's everyone buying into the vision of what we're trying to do here. So yeah, I enjoy building those relationships with people, the people I work with, but also the people I get to meet, and whether that's talking to kind of people like yourself who are also on this journey, or other people in the same industry. You don't know where it's going to lead to, and I always find that quite exciting.
Absolutely. Never know what's around the next corner, hey?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And so having done this for a few years now, you mentioned a number of years you've been running, is it possible to pick out maybe one learning, one key thing that you've discovered since running the business?
One key learning, yeah. I think really it's the team you build has to believe in the business and what you're doing. And I believe that is one of the things that we've done best. And as I said, the people I have around me are extremely dedicated, and they want this to succeed. And I always like to go back to the story. So like I tell a story about the first hire we ever made. And so it kind of blows my mind a little bit that it ever works, because back in the early days, we had a small box room, and I was working out this small spare room at my dad's house. And I remember it was just me then, I had one table in there. And it came to the point where we thought, okay, I'm going to make a hire here, because we've kind of expanded the portfolio. We've got so many properties, and we could do with a little bit of extra support. But put the job advert up, and I just remember thinking, well, who's going to want to sit in this room just opposite me 5 days a week or 8 hours a day and do this? But we actually found someone. That person turned out to be incredible and is still with us today. And what I realized is that for the right person, because most people that would not fit at all, but for the right person, that's actually quite an exciting opportunity. And so I realized that if you can make people kind of buy into that vision, that's the way that you kind of succeed in this business. You have to have people on board with you. And I think that's what we've done well. So that's definitely a key learning for us. And that's still what we continue to do with every hire we make.
Yeah, and what a wonderful story to think that someone came in and joined you and you did find the right fit for them to stay with you and join that vision. When you think everything that you've been through then, and obviously you've grown since you were in that box room a number of years ago, what are the biggest challenges that you face in the business today?
Biggest challenges. I think for us, the scope of work that we do as part of our management service is fairly large. And on top of that, we're one of the few industries that I can think of that have two completely different sets of customers. And both of those customers have to be marketed in very different ways. So on one side of our business, we have our property owners, and those are the properties which we manage, and that's kind of the portfolio that we sell to our guests. And the other side of it is our paying guests who stay in those properties. And both of those are two kind of separate areas of the business. They both have different needs, different requirements, different expectations. The marketing we do has to be totally different depending on who we're aiming at, whether it's to get new property owners on board or to get people to come and stay with us. So it's, you are already immediately spread quite thin with that, especially when you kind of start off in the early days. So I think that's a challenge kind of unique to our industry, unfortunately. I mean, I'm sure there's other challenges I face, which is not being able to switch off, time management. The fact that this is a 24-hour day, 7-day-a-week business is not unique to me, but that's kind of something else which has always been a challenge so far. But that gets easier the more that you kind of build the team and grow that way.
Yeah, absolutely. So thinking then about the future and what's to come, Sascha, what do you see happening in the next few years for Norfolk Holiday Properties?
Yeah, so next few years that we'll continue to grow. There is demand for our service, and the UK holiday market remains strong as ever, especially post-pandemic. It was strong before. It's not going away. It's one of the most resilient industries in the world. So despite the kind of knockbacks you might get from the odd pandemic here and there, it's actually a very, very good industry to be in. So the team will expand in order to allow us to still offer that level of service, which we've become accustomed to. So I think that's the main thing. It's going to be continuing to find the right people to join me on this journey and kind of build the business in the right way.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned the pandemic there. Do you feel like everything's bounced back to pre-pandemic levels now? Do you feel like it's back on an even keel?
Yes, I do. Yeah, so this is probably the first normal year that we've had in quite a while. I say normal. There's still a fair bit of going on, cost of living crisis, the war in Ukraine. There's still perhaps it's not the most normal year ever, but previous to this, the last true set of data we had for kind of what the guest trends are and occupancy rates was 2019. So before, the data since then for 2020, 2021 was skewed because it was, right in the midst of the pandemic where you saw absolutely record demand for UK staycations, extremely inflated prices for those properties as well compared to 2019. And now we are back on track. So again, there is kind of a realignment of guests which would normally go abroad. They're going abroad again. But you've got people who are now kind of investing again, spending money on that side of things, despite the cost of living crisis. So it is a bit of an unusual time. But this is, I'm pleased to say, this is probably the most normal year which we've had for some time.
That's fantastic news. And now this might be a tough one, Sascha, but think back to your 18-year-old self. What advice would you have, knowing what you know now and all your experience in the business, what advice would you have for your 18-year-old self?
Yeah, I knew this question was coming up. I don't actually have an answer for it. Only if I could go back and talk to my 18-year-old self, I'd probably tell him to go and buy some Bitcoin and then retire at 25 in the Bahamas. That's what I would say to him.
Well, Norfolk would be the poorer for it, wouldn't they? Because you wouldn't be here.
That's true. Yeah, quite.
Yeah, very good. So, what advice would you give? Maybe this is an easier one to think about, giving advice to other people. So, perhaps anyone who's interested in starting up their own business, getting into business themselves, what advice would you give to them?
Yeah. Okay. What advice? So I'll be a little bit controversial. So the advice which you often hear is follow your dreams, follow your passions, do something that you always dreamt of doing. And I think that's obviously, if you can find something which is already your passion and you want to do, well, that's amazing, and you do it. But then the downside of that is that if you are working at your passion, it can quickly become, you can fall out of love with it, and it won't be a passion for much longer. And my other problem with that advice is that I think it definitely limits people and what they consider, and it definitely restricts you from considering options which otherwise could have been a very successful and well, profitable venture in many different ways. And I think that because of that advice, everyone focuses on, say, the sexy stuff, and they don't. So I'm talking about tech companies and whatever else, and trying to be the next big thing. When really, if you find a need, find a gap in the market, or you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just find something which you can offer and add value to it. And if you find that, you will be passionate about your business, and you will love it. You will enjoy the journey of building it. What I'm saying is, you don't have to think of the next big idea to lead a successful life and to build something. I think that follow your passion is a great thing to do, but if you just have that kind of narrow view, I think that restricts you on what you're going to actually find, and you won't consider the things you may be truly passionate about later on.
That's brilliant. It's really, really good food for thought for people out there, maybe trying to work out what they want to do next or what they want to go after in their career. So thank you for sharing that with us, Sascha. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you today. Before we go, just to check in, if anyone wants to find out more about you, are there any key locations you want to talk about, just to let people know how they can find out more? Where should they head to?
Yeah, sure. So we've got an office in Norwich, so 53 Burr Street. We're next to the John Lewis car park entrance. If you're local to the area, you'll know it. If you're not, then please visit our website. It's norfolkholidayproperties.co.uk. All of our contact information is on there. We're seeing really, really strong demand for holidays in Norfolk at the moment. So if you're a property owner and you're perhaps you're wondering what to do with your property, or maybe you're looking to invest and get into the holiday letting market, well, get in touch with us, because we can provide advice about that. It's all free of charge. We don't charge anything to do that. We'll discuss it with you, go through the options, and see how we can help. So yeah, look us up. We're always open for a chat.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Sascha. Wishing you all the very best for the future with Norfolk Holiday Properties, and thank you for your time on the series today.
Yeah, thank you, Jenny. Really nice to be on here. Thank you.